Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus-Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in the South and our online audience tuning in, thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. I always love being able to spotlight individuals who are not only able to use their platform to entertain, but also to inspire as well. Both of those definitely fit our next guest. We're excited to welcome Tonya-Lewis-Taylor to our program. She is not only the executive director and founder of the Entertainers for Education Alliance, but also the founder of the I Will Graduate program as well. She's definitely doing a great work and not only being able to connect her audience with individuals that they respect, but also sharing messages that are very important. That's very true this year as well, as she's part of a very powerful PSA. I want to talk to Tonya about that and, of course, let you guys know how to stay connected with her online as well. Tonya, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Yeah, the pleasure is definitely all mine. A lot of great work that you've been able to do, Tonya, with Entertainers for Education. But I want to talk about this platform for you. What has it been like for you to kind of have a dual effect, Tonya, to be able to introduce your audience to individuals that they do respect and admire, but also share messages that can push them forward too?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing journey. I started out working as an executive in the music and entertainment industry, working at Rockefeller Records, working as Jay-Z's publicist and helping to build that dream for them. And so my work has always been dual. I've always worked with youth. I'm a youth pastor, and I've worked under my mom and dad's ministry my whole entire life. And so it was just like a natural progression for me to combine my love of young people and my love for the music entertainment industry. And that's how we came up with the Entertainers for Education Alliance I Will Graduate program.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit then about the audience here, Tonya, because I know that the PSA we're going to talk about, definitely it's because of something that you saw happening in New York City. But where did the idea for the Alliance come from when it came to the audience you wanted to reach?
Well, really, as I said, my background in the industry really led me to have opportunities. And one of those opportunities was a principal from a school had asked a friend of mine if they could get some support at their school because students weren't coming to school. And they asked us if I could bring some artists to the school, and I brought some of the Rockefeller artists to the school. And the principal said something to me at the end of that school visit, which was electrifying because they did a performance and they gave away posters. And back in those days, they gave away CDs and all kinds of stuff. And so he said to me at the end of that event, he said, "Thank you so much." He said, "And when the students who didn't show up today find out on Monday that we had Kanye and Rel and the Rockefeller artists in the house, they're going to be so upset." And I said, "What do you mean when they find out?" He said, "Well, 50% of our kids don't show up on Fridays, and we have a very low attendance rate." And so I decided to utilize my resources and my platform to help that particular school. And that particular school started to receive different school visits from us, and we started giving them incentives for their students to show up. And the attendance rate started to improve at the school. And then we started that principal started bragging to other principals and, "Oh, could you help our school?" And so by that time, I had transitioned and had started a PR firm, and I was handling a lot of A-list talents, people like Jamie Foxx and Russell Simmons and Bow Wow and Swiss Beats. And we were working with so many different artists that I would say whenever, someone was in town or had a free moment, I'd say, "Hey, why don't you do a school visit with me?" And that just turned into, what we do today, which is the Entertainers for Education Alliance, which is, the hundreds of A-list celebrities who have donated their time to help support what we do. And the I Will Graduate program is the work that we do with the youth, which is helping them become great. And so that's pretty much the backstory.
Yeah. Well, and I think it kind of catches us up then to your passion for wanting to make sure that the young people are being able to be looked after, Tonya, but also inspired as well. And then one of the things that I think both of us kind of were shocked by, not only, of course, in 2020 where we're dealing with, with COVID-19, but also, of course, with all the other unrest happening around the world, definitely one of the things we saw was an uprising in shootings and homicides. I know my home state of Mississippi closed out 2020 with its most homicides in the city's history. The city of Jackson, Mississippi did. And I know that you also saw a lot of what was happening in New York City. How did you decide to use your platform to make a difference and to send a message, Tonya?
Well, just like you, Cyrus, I was sitting at home and saying, my God, what is happening to our city? There had been over 1,000 shootings and almost 300 murders in New York at the time. And I was like, what is happening? And at that moment, a news story came on of 2 teens that were shot literally maybe about 15 blocks from where I live. And I said, enough. So I called the borough president, who actually have, his number. We've worked very closely. They fund our organization. And I said, Eric, what can our organization do? And he said, we got to figure out something. So I sat down with my team and we developed, this campaign, and we wanted to do the Stop the Violence campaign. And we needed a figure, somebody that would be compelling, that the kids would stop and listen to. And when we asked around, the name that spoke from the grave was Pop Smoke. And he is the most polarizing figure of our time at this moment. And he was violently murdered due to gun violence. And so it just kind of clicked. So we reached out to his parents and with the borough president's office, and we wanted to do this huge press conference, and it didn't come together. And so we started brainstorming and said, well, why don't we just do a PSA? And so we decided to do the PSA and combine it with an 8-week program with our students of change. And these students are coming together not just to put a message out about gun violence, but to actually do something in their communities.
Wow. So I think that is the great thing that you're able to show, Tonya, is that it's one thing to acknowledge what's happening. It's another thing to decide to do something. I have to ask you, because it does seem to be a part of just who you are. Have you always been the type of individual that couldn't just sit on the sidelines, that had to, if you saw something, you had to do something?
Cyrus, you figured that out. Absolutely. I was the kid that always was rooting for the underdog. I was that kid that if I saw another kid crying, I had to help. I had to get involved. It's not fair what you did. Let's all work together. So I was always that person. So thank you for pointing that out.
Well, no, I think it says a lot about what you've been able to achieve, and I think that is the big thing here, because you're able to do what so many people just unfortunately just talk about. Tonya, as you and I both know, there are a lot of people who are vocal about, well, this should be different or we should do this, but they're not actually on the front line. You've actually been able to take this mantle up. So part of this, of course, is this PSA. That is definitely bringing awareness to these shootings. We want to talk about that. I want to first say, though, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Tonya-Lewis-Taylor to our program today. She's the Executive Director and founder of the Entertainers for Education Alliance I Will Graduate program. We're talking with her not only about the work she's been able to do, but also the connections she's made and the networking that has helped her to be able to not only share powerful messages, but also to encourage the youth. She's also behind this new Gun Violence Destroys Families PSA. So talk to us about what it was like for you. You mentioned Pop Smoke, Tonya. What was it like for you to have the blessing of his family with this?
It's amazing. As I mentioned, we originally reached out because we were planning a big, huge Brooklyn-wide campaign that didn't take off at that time. And so the parents, they were just, gracious enough to say they would lend their support to anything that's going to help stop the killings. And so, that it's just an amazing feeling when someone entrusts you, with that level of care. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now here we are. So I mean, we have to talk about, what your hopes are, because I think, as we are now beginning this new year, a lot of people are looking to begin a new chapter, right? What is your hope that not only this PSA does in raising awareness, Tonya, but also the work that you're doing with Entertainers for Education that you're able to do moving into this new year?
Well, for us, our organization pre-COVID was serving almost 16,000 students a week pre-COVID. And then we had to figure out a way to then turn what we were doing in-person instruction and work with the students to online. So it's been a transition for all of us. And most importantly, we are concerned about the social emotional wellness of our kids. We know that it's not easy being away from their family, their friends, and the social component that is happening that they've lost. And so for us, it's really been about how do we, provide solutions to what we're seeing in our community. Definitely the social emotional issues that our kids are having, and also helping them with the different supports that they will need to keep them engaged. One of the big issues in our community is, jobs for our young people, keeping them engaged, keeping them active. And so our goal is to develop, recreation programs and have more tutoring programs and that provide jobs for all of our students. So one of the key components of this 8-week program is for the young people to develop these campaigns and these programs that are going to help them and their community by spotlighting the effects of gun violence. And, they are going to be violence interrupters. These young people will be doing a social media campaign and promoting the message about how gun violence destroys lives. These young people will be working with their local police precincts, developing solutions to combat gun violence in their communities, and also developing relationships with their local police officers so that everyone knows each other and we build strong communities. These young people will be helping to, send positive messages to other young people that there are other ways to solve problems besides being violent. So there's so many goals of this program, and we're just excited about, the fact that we have amazing young people who do want to see change and who's working hard to help develop themselves and their communities to be stronger and better.
Wow, what a great thing. So for our audience out there, Tonya, who wants to find out more information about the 8-week anti-gun violence program and also the work that you're doing, how can they contact you?
Okay, so our organization, you can find us on all forms of social media and on the web at I Will Graduate program. And you can reach me at I am Tonya-Lewis-Taylor. And I'm also online website at I am Tonya-Lewis-Taylor. So, for the most part, you can reach us. We ask for people who are passionate and who want to support what we're doing, make a donation or volunteer. And there's always work to be done. And because, we are living in a very difficult time, and now it's time for all of us to step up and do our part for our stronger communities and stronger country.
What a great point. Again, everyone, a great guest today with us. Tonya-Lewis-Taylor has been our guest, the Executive Director and founder of the Entertainers for Education Alliance, I Will Graduate program. Tonya, really appreciate you stopping by the program today, and it goes without saying, you're welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much, Cyrus, and, thank you for all the work that you do and for spotlighting people like us, because this message is very important.
Yeah, definitely glad to do our part for sure. Hey, we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. I want to thank our good friends at Double Exposure Media Relations for bringing this to our attention and setting up this conversation with us for today. And thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in, whether on the radio side or online. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.